In Germany, Tim and Liv appear to have built a happy married life together. They've been through their share of ups and downs, but when Liv becomes pregnant, it feels like everything is finally falling into place. Sadly, their joy doesn't last long. The pregnancy ends in heartbreak, leaving both of them broken inside. Time passes, but the wound never truly heals. Tim buries himself in work as a video game programmer, spending long hours behind his computer screen. Liv, on the other hand, feels him slipping away day by day. The warmth they once shared has grown cold, replaced by silence and distance that hangs heavy in their apartment. For the past few weeks, their building has been wrapped in a massive black tarp. Their landlord, Friedman, insists it's just for renovations, though it's made everything around them feel darker and closed in. Later that day, Liv tells Tim she's picked up their old van from the repair shop, but the moment he sees it, all he can think about are the painful memories it holds. Trying to lift his spirits, Liv tells him she quit her job. She wants to start over, to drive to France together and rebuild what they've lost. Tim hesitates, saying he needs to finish his project first. He promises they'll talk about it later, but Liv can already tell that later might never come. Before they can continue the conversation, Tim's phone rings. Another call from work. Liv's face hardens. That night, she lies in bed crying softly while Tim stares at the ceiling, unable to find the words to comfort her. Outside, the night sky seems heavier than usual. A strange, dark cloud forms above their building. The next morning, Liv has reached her breaking point. She tells Tim she's leaving. She can't live like this anymore. But when she opens the door, she freezes. The doorway isn't open to the hallway. Instead, it's blocked by a strange black wall, solid and smooth, like stone, but unnatural. Confused, Tim pushes it with all his strength. It doesn't budge. He checks the doorbell camera, but the screen is dead. They rush to the windows, only to find the same black surface sealing them in from every side. Panic sets in. Liv tried calling Friedman, but her phone had no signal. Panic began to rise in her throat. Tim shouted through the door for help, his voice echoing into nothing. Then he slammed his shoulder against the wall again and again, but it didn't even shake. Frustrated, he brought his phone closer to the wall, and that's when he noticed something strange. The closer it got, the more it glitched. The screen flickered violently, filled with static. Whatever this wall was, it was reacting to technology. They grabbed a drill from the closet, but the bit barely scratched the surface. Tim tested it on the normal wall. It worked perfectly. Whatever this black material was, it was stronger than concrete, stronger than steel. Then, from behind their bedroom wall, they heard faint noises, muffled voices, neighbors. Tim and Liv quickly drilled through the shared wall and managed to peer into the next apartment, where another couple, Marvin and Anna, were trapped just like them. No signal, no exit, no clue what was happening. Anna broke down in tears, terrified they were all going to die inside these walls. Tim tried to stay rational, saying they just needed to test options, like in a video game. But that only pushed Liv further. She snapped, shouting that this wasn't a game, that he was always hiding behind screens and logic when all she wanted was for him to feel. She stormed off, leaving him alone in his frustration. Tim hurled his phone at the wall. It shattered, scattering pieces across the floor. One fragment hit the black surface and stuck. When he tried to pull it off, it snapped right back like a magnet. Intrigued, he called Liv over. She handed him a spoon from her mug. It flew to the wall and clung there instantly. Metal. The wall was magnetic. They began testing more objects, keys, cutlery, even tools. Some spots reacted stronger than others, almost like the wall was alive, pulsing beneath the surface. Liv marked 4 of the most magnetic areas and piled metal items against them. For a moment, everything was still, and then the objects began to vibrate. Without warning, they exploded off the wall like bullets, flying across the room. Tim dove forward, covering Liv with his body as knives, tools, and shards of metal tore through the air. When it was over, he was bleeding, several metal fragments embedded in his back. Liv rushed to him, trembling, and gently pulled each piece out. For the first time in a long while, they spoke softly to each other. He winced in pain and she whispered apologies through tears. As the night grew colder, the apartment filled with silence again, until the screams began. They came from the neighbor's apartment. Horrifying, desperate screams, followed by the sound of a violent struggle. Then, silence. Tim and Liv widened the hole between their walls until they could crawl through. On the other side, they found the place wrecked. Blood smeared on the carpet. Anna lay unconscious on the floor. Liv rushed to help her, but suddenly Marvin lunged out of the shadows and attacked Tim, strangling him with the bat in his hands. Liv grabbed her pepper spray and fired it straight into Marvin's face. He stumbled back, screaming, and Tim struck him across the shoulder with the bat. When Anna came to, she begged them to stop, insisting Marvin wasn't attacking her. She confessed that she had hit him first by mistake while trying to break the wall. It took a while, but eventually the tension faded. They tied Marvin's wrists for safety, and Tim searched the apartment. There was a locked room labeled "No Entry." Inside, he found a stash of digital cameras, an axe, and strange flickering lights that danced across the black walls. When Liv joined him, they both noticed how the window bricks briefly glowed when touched. Something about the light triggered them. Meanwhile, Marvin regained consciousness and apologized, explaining he had overdosed on medication before the fight, which made him aggressive. Anna hugged him tightly, grateful he was alive. Trying to stay focused, Liv drew a quick sketch of their building on the wall. She pointed out that because it was old, there should be a bomb shelter in the basement, maybe even a tunnel that connected to the subway system. "If we can't go out," she said, "we go down." Tim grabbed the bat and began smashing the floor. To everyone's relief, the black material wasn't beneath the floorboards. After hours of work, they made a hole big enough to climb through. Tim tied bed sheets into a rope and descended into the dark, unaware that someone below was waiting holding a gun. Tim lowers himself into the darkness beneath the floor, every creak of the rope echoing through the hollow space. The beam of his flashlight cuts through the dust, revealing concrete walls and scattered pipes. Suddenly, a voice slices through the silence. "Don't move." A flashlight flickers on and Tim freezes as he sees a man pointing a gun at him, older, rough-faced, with deep scars running across his cheek. Behind him stands a woman, silent but alert. The man's name is Oswald, a former engineer who's been trapped longer than anyone else. Beside him, the woman, Leah. They've survived down here for weeks, maybe longer, scavenging food from old storage rooms. When Tim explains how he and Liv found a way down, Oswald lowers his weapon. "You're lucky," he mutters. "Most people who come down here don't make it back."